All right. Adam Show with Team Alpha Charlie. Part 3, 90 Ways We Serve You. Today we're going to run through 21 through 30, and I'm super excited about it. So starting us off at 21, start showing homes as requested, right? So this, again, buyer or seller, we're going to get you, if you're our buyer, we're going to start compiling. Words are tough. Compiling a list of homes that we're going to take you out to show, right? If you're a seller, we're going to keep you completely informed of what's going on. If you're living there, that's the hardest and most stressful time, right? We get a showing request 2 hours notice. We want to make sure you're well educated in everything that we're doing, right? Buyers, sometimes we have to manipulate it around busy showing market, especially if it's a house that just came on the market. Say a house comes on the market Thursday, and we want to be one of the first ones in it. We're going to have to kind of be flexible and fluid, and we'll keep you apprised of all that, right? How we're going to organize those showings. This is 22. Organize those showings and schedule, right? So we use a handy dandy showing time app here in Maryland, and it's going to schedule out for either side of the transaction, buyer or seller, to let them know exactly what's available, what's not available. And then we're going to organize that where it makes sense, right? Especially on our buyers, right? What I say I want to do is go from Edgewood Avenue to the other side of Edgewood Avenue to the other side of town, back to Edgewood, right? We're going to make sure we have an app that we use called Route for Me, that we're going to set that up to where we are being as efficient as possible, because it's hard enough to pay for closing costs, much less extra gas, right? So we want to be as efficient as possible. And we're going to communicate that showing schedule to you as well and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So going to 25, I'm going to get there ahead of you, ideally, right? I'm retired Navy, right? 20 years in the Navy. So if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, we stop your pay, right? I don't want my pay to be stopped. So I'm going to try to get there 10 to 15 minutes ahead of you to prep out the showing, right? Nothing like walking into a dark, stuffy house. If it's cold, we'll turn up the heat. If it's hot, we'll open a window or do something like that if feasible, right? And then make sure all the lights are on. Get a bearing of the house so it doesn't look like it's the first time we've ever been in it, even though 90% of the time it is the first time we've been in that house. It is what it is. I'd love to go look at a listing ahead of time, but 5 things we probably don't have time to do is get there and go look at every showing, especially if you're one of our buyer clients that's had to go look at 15, 20 houses. My ability to get there ahead of you is not always easy, right? I'm gonna take a look at a once over on the house. I am not a home inspector. I'm not anything other than a licensed realtor, right? But I do have a deep knowledge in rentals, flips, home renovations. I've kind of done it all myself. I've owned some renos. I've owned some rentals. I've owned some flips, right? So making sure we're taking a look at everything, because it's hard to see when you're in a house for, like, let's call it, average person's probably in a house 10 to 15 minutes, right? And you kind of have an idea once you walk in. It's hard to see those little details, right? I bought a house once in 2014, this is before I was licensed, that didn't have any trim in the bedrooms, right? Bedrooms all had furniture in them. So we go to look at the house and it's all like raw drywall the day of closing. I'm like, well, what happened to the trim? Well, there wasn't any. Really? Right? So looking for those little things. We also I carry a bunch of tools in the truck to kind of get an idea, laser measure, also a moisture meter, right? If we see a spot somewhere and we're like, is that wet still, or is that old, or what? Slap the moisture meter on there. It'll give us a good idea if that's actual or old. Then I'm going to gather your feedback and share that with the listing agent or with you as the seller, right? We're going to gather all the feedback from all of the people that have looked at the house for that day. If it's for our buyers, we're going to gather your feedback and provide it. That way we're keeping that open line of communication. A lot of realtors are scared to pick up the old telephone and make a phone call. We thrive on communication, right? Clear and concise communication is the key to a successful real estate transaction. For our buyer clients specifically, we're going to update you with any new homes. We send out a blast email every morning to every one of our buyers around 6 a.m. plus or minus a couple minutes, depending on how busy we are. Everything new that's either come to the market or come back to the market, right? A lot of times, there's some stat in 2023, 33% of homes didn't go to closing, right? The team average was like 8%. I mean, it happens, but we try. If a client loves that house, we want to figure out any way to make that work. And same thing for our sellers. Nobody wants to be doing 2, 3, 4 contracts, right? We want that first contract to go through with the most amount of success possible. Sometimes it's not. We're going to share knowledge and insights on the home, on the neighborhood. If If you take me to an obscure neighborhood down on the Eastern Shore, I may not be as knowledgeable, right? I can talk to you specifically about the home on the information I have back. But if you're somewhere here local in Anne Arundel County or Prince George County, Baltimore County, Howard County, we're going to do our best to give you everything that we know about that house specifically. And the last one, which is probably, 30 steps in itself, is guide you through the emotional journey. Whether you're a seller or a buyer, guiding you through that emotional journey, being your psychiatrist to a point, right, it's tough. You're buying the biggest investment of your life, right? Most of the time. I would say 98% of our clients, their home is their largest investment. So, being your confidant, if you will, through that process is extremely important, guiding you and helping you understand that like what you're feeling is normal. I bought a new to me house in October, and it was like I represented myself, and it was like, this is what everybody feels. So I completely get it, and I can definitely be there to help you walk through it. All right, again, Adam Chubbuck, Team Alpha Charlie, Douglas Realty. If you watch this video all the way through, click like, subscribe, do all the good things. We hope you like this series. Give us a few days, and we'll send you the next one. Love you guys. Smile more.